France now. I can say France. Thank you for being with us. We will start our... En français, on dit on laisse le meilleur pour la fin. And I have the pleasure to introduce to you Mrs. Djenna Diarra, AU Legal Counsel. She will address you on the statute of ratification of the OAU Treaties and maybe other items if there is need. After her presentation, I will open the floor for your question, please. So, Madam Legal Counsel, thank you for being with us, and you have the floor.
Thank you, Director. I have the honor to address you this afternoon on, I would basically say, on OAU Treaties. In a few days, here in Addis Ababa, once again, the heads of state and government of the African Union will be gathered to celebrate where 50 years ago the Charter of the Organization of African Unity was signed. As we all know, the purpose of the OAU was to promote the unity and solidarity of African states, coordinate and intensify cooperation and efforts to achieve a better life for the peoples of Africa, defend the sovereignty, the territorial integrity and independence of African states, eradicate all forms of colonialism from Africa, and promote international cooperation. And in achieving those purposes, the OAU had a modus operandi, which was basically to coordinate and harmonize policies of African states. Suffice to tell you that since 1963, the OAU has adopted 43 treaties, of course on a wide range of issues, be it economic integration, conservation and management of natural resources, environmental protection, counterterrorism, peace and security, democracy, non-proliferation of nuclear weapons, to mention a few. The most recent treaty that was adopted, agreement rather, is the establishment of the African Risk Capacity Agency, which is basically to mitigate the effect of drought on the continent. 23 treaties were adopted under the OAU, 20 under the aegis of the AU. We understand at our level that the higher pace of adoption of treaties under the AU is to mean that member states did realize that these treaties were critical to the integration agenda of the continent. To date, 28 of those treaties have entered into force. And in looking at what we're celebrating today, which is the 50th anniversary of our continental organization, we do acknowledge that there are a number of challenges that impede the ratification of these treaties. And as indicated, those treaties basically are to provide for a common framework or platform for collective action. And therefore, we do understand that member states sometimes have challenges in ratifying these treaties, be it lack of political will or technical shortage. However, suffice to say again that the intent to have common platform, common action, common policies are what guides the member states of the AU today. But in looking at the status today, we need to look at two issues. One, the number of member states that ratify these treaties. And yes, the higher the number and the more important we think that those treaties are, but we also need to look at the quality of the countries that ratify those treaties. And I'm going to take something that is really simple. If you take the Maritime Charter, the AU Maritime Charter, it has been ratified basically by those who are affected by those issues that are in the treaties. We look at the one of our, we believe, milestone in our history, which is the Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance, and yet to date only 19 countries have ratified it. Therefore, we can have some kind of mixed feelings as we look at this common platform that we call treaties. Maybe, Director, I don't want to be very long. I just want us to understand that the pace under the AU has been very high in adopting treaties. That, for us, means that member states do intend to be guided by common principles, common policies, common platform. However, when it comes to adoption of those treaties, we're still wanting in some of the areas. And therefore, we do believe that as we project ourselves into the future, that political will and the technical aspect of ratification will be overcome. I thank you.
Thank you, Madam Legal Counsel. Please, I am waiting for your questions. Yes, please. There.
My name is Yed Mahirsi. I'm from Tunisia, respondent of Tunisia Live. Is there a way to get all the statistics like in one table? All the treaties, all the countries, and status, implementation, ratification, signature, etc.
Thank you, Ziad. Question? Yes, please, the micro there. Please introduce yourself and your media, please.
Yeah, but he should do the same because
He did.
No,
He said.
okay.
Yeah, we will come back to you. We didn't get your media.
Thank you. My name is Tani. I'm a reporter for a peace magazine called the Global Truth Peace Magazine. My question is about the treaty. The AU has ratified the UN Resolution A55/282, which established the International Day of Peace. I would like to know which countries in Africa have not internalized that treaty. Thank you.
Thank you. Floor to respond to these two questions, please.
Okay. Thank you, Director. With regard to the overall picture on the status of a signature and ratification of OAU treaties, of course, the data is available on our website. Therefore, you can download all the information in relation to that. With regard to the International Day, as you indicated, that's a UN resolution, and therefore probably they'll be in a better position since we're not custodian of when member states take the commitment with regard to those UN treaties. At the level of African states, we do know that most of them, with regard, let me put it this way, peace is our objective as a continent. Yes, we want Africa to be at peace. Yes, we did launch a campaign to make peace happen in Africa. And therefore, we are all collectively committed to make King Peace happen in Africa. Be it the UN resolution, we go beyond that. And the commitment of our leaders is to make Africa free of conflicts, civil strifes, and basically to just make peace happen on the continent. But it does go beyond the UN resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. More questions, please? Yes, I'm coming to you. Could you please introduce yourself and your media?
Je suis Sédic Abba de l'Agence panafricaine d'information Panapresse. L'Union africaine a confié le dossier du jugement de l'ancien chef de l'État tchadien Hissène Habré au Sénégal. Un certain nombre de conditions légales devaient être remplies. Est-ce qu'aujourd'hui, vous considérez que tout a été fait sur le plan légal pour que le procès de Hissène Habré ait lieu au Sénégal? Merci.
Thank you. Yeah, come in.
Thank you. I am Amnet from Addis Standard Magazine. I wanted to know, I wanted you to comment about the implementations of these legal frameworks that the AU has pushed its member states to ratify. I want to get your comment. Thank you.
One more question here.
Aaron from Reuters. In regards to integration, Commissioner for Trade spoke on the implementation of deals, and she mentioned the possibility of sanctions for non-implementation. From a legal perspective, how feasible is that to carry out?
Merci. Par rapport à l'affaire Hissène Habré, ce que nous voulons dire, c'est que cette question a été mise à l'ordre du jour de l'Union africaine depuis 2006 et qu'effectivement nous avons rencontré un certain nombre de défis. Tous ces défis, en ce qui nous concerne, étaient d'ordre technique. À ce jour, ce que nous pouvons dire, et nous nous réjouissons, c'est que nous sommes arrivés à un stade où nous avons pu mettre en place les chambres extraordinaires africaines, que la phase d'instruction a commencé depuis mars 2013 et que nous pensons que ce procès, évidemment, si à la fin de la phase d'instruction, les juges, ou plutôt le procureur, est d'avis que procès il doit y avoir, procès il y aura. Donc nous avons réussi à relever tout ce qui était défi technique et nous sommes dans la phase où maintenant, et c'est pour cela que nous ne commentons pas à ce stade le procès Hissène Habré, que les chambres extraordinaires africaines ont été saisies de la question. With regard to commenting on the legal frameworks, implementation of the legal frameworks, what we would like to say is that, yes, we do believe that there are still challenges with regard to domestication of the provisions of these treaties within the internal systems of our member states. Indeed, there are still challenges, but as we've indicated, once those treaties have been adopted, and the intention of our member states are known, then we do need to address the technical aspects of how we go about that. Yes, we do believe at our level, as the AU, the continental body, that our member states need to step up their efforts in relation to not only signing and ratifying or acceding to these treaties, but more importantly, to domesticate the provisions of those treaties. I believe with regard to the sanctions regime on implementation, yes, the AU does have in its legal instruments a sanctions regime. But as we look at the sanctions regime, we kind of believe, and that is one of those principles that guides us as African countries, that sanctions regime should not affect any civilian population. As long as we've got targeted sanctions with regard to those who are involved in whatever situation, then that is acceptable. But any sanctions that does affect the African people are not acceptable. I thank you.
Thank you. So we will get maybe two more questions. Yes, please.
My name is Shuaib Sadiq Adamu from the News Agency of Nigeria. Madagascar and Guinea-Bissau have been sanctioned from the African Union. I want to know if there is a legal instrument backing the sanctions.
Thank you. Final question. So it will be the final question. Thank you. Madam Legal Counsel, please.
Thank you. With regard to the suspension of Madagascar and Guinea-Bissau, and here I might add the Central African Republic, which has been recently placed under the sanctions regime. Indeed, I must say since 1997, this organization has clearly, collectively decided that unconstitutional change of government was no longer acceptable to this organization. Thus, our position with regard to Madagascar today, Guinea-Bissau, and Central African Republic. Of course, we do, as I indicated, 1997. In 1999, we had the Algiers Declaration on the rejection of unconstitutional change of government. We did address comprehensively the matter in 2000 with the Lomé Declaration on unconstitutional changes of government. And since then, the position of the AU has been consistent. When there are unconstitutional changes of government, first we condemned, two we suspend. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, dear colleagues.